The Truth and Reconciliation Commission has some call to action. I will be speaking about the call to action on Aboriginal children's welfare. This is an important step towards reconciliation. Did you know that according to the 2021 census, over 53.8% of children in foster care are Indigenous, whereas they represent only 7.7% of child population? This is alarming. In the spirit of healing and justice, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's call to action on Aboriginal children welfare holds immense significance by acknowledging the pain and trauma endured by Indigenous community. This call to action aims to build a path towards reconciliation. Through these actions, hope arises for a brighter future, where the welfare of Aboriginal children takes precedence. Many incidents and situations define the history of Canada with the Indigenous people of Canada. These include treaties, the Indian Act, 60s scope and residential school, including the land claims. Let's talk about the call to action. The TRC call to actions that I have selected that related to Indigenous children welfare are: Call to Action 1. We call upon the federal, the provincial, territorial, and Aboriginal government to commit to reducing the numbers of Aboriginal children in care. Call to Action 4. We call upon the federal government to enact Aboriginal child welfare legislation that enables national standard for Aboriginal child apprehension and custody cases, and include principles. And also call to action number 5. We also call upon the federal, provincial, territorial, and Aboriginal government to develop culturally appropriate parenting programs for the Aboriginal families. Whether you are Indigenous or non-Indigenous, you can act prominently for non-Indigenous individual. You can act by 1. Getting rid of personal biases about Indigenous people, educating yourself and reading more about the history of Canada and relationship with Indigenous people. There are many information and resources that are free of charge. By advocating for the fairer child welfare for Indigenous children and family. Take prominent actions by writing letters of consideration to your MLA and members of parliament to ensure elected officials take necessary actions. Participate in petitions. In the spirit of reconciliation, it is important that we recognize what Canada has done to the Indigenous people, respect the Indigenous people's way of life, and treaties provision. And lastly, reconciliation, which is taking individual action that promote reconciliation. For example, taking action to address the overrepresentation of Indigenous children in care will go a long way in our effort to mend broken trusts. Take action now. And for more information, please visit www.youraction.ca. Thank you. Remember that every child matters.